Let's take a look at task 25 through 30 for GMetrix Practice Test 3 on Adobe PhotoShop. Starting with task 25, which option in the File menu do you pick to modify the copyright information for a document? Is it Open as a Smart Object, Close and Go to Bridge, Generate, Place Embedded, Scripts, or File Info? If we go back to the original question, we can look for some context clues. We see the word information right here, as well as document. Well, if we think about it, document is another word for file, and information might be shortened down to info. If we think through our list of options on here, one of those should stand out as having those two words in it, file info. Let's click on file info once, and only once, or else it won't work, and select next. And we're correct, we'll go ahead and hit next. Task 26, as you edit photos for your client's magazine, it is important to understand which types of editing are destructive and which types are non-destructive. Match the appropriate editing method to the scenarios below. Let's take a minute to talk about what each of these things mean. Non-destructive versus destructive editing. Destructive editing means that the changes that you make to an image are permanent and cannot easily be undone if you decide that you need to make adjustments or you change your mind much farther down in the design process. Non-destructive editing is editing that can be undone or tweaked at any stage in the design process. It is much easier to unwind that dial. Let's take a look at our options here. Using adjustment layers. Adjustment layers can be toggled on or off or adjusted at any time without causing harm to your document. That would be non-destructive editing. Transforming smart objects. Smart objects are specifically designed to be able to easily be expanded or changed the size of or transformed without really causing harm. That would be another instance of non-destructive editing. Making adjustments using the image adjustments menu. This one would actually be destructive editing because it's making an adjustment to the entire image that cannot easily be undone. Using the clone stamp tool is another instance of destructive editing. And last, masking is going to be an instance of non-destructive editing because those masks can always be adjusted later on. We'll go ahead and select next, and we are correct. Task 27, match the correct definition to the terms as it relates to typography and the character panel options in Photoshop. Our terms available are leading, kerning, tracking, and type style. For definitions, we have controls the amount of space between lines of type, sets the amount of space between a range of characters, controls the space between two specific characters, and a variation on a typeface such as bold, italics, or normal. Let's start off with leading. Leading is going to adjust the amount of space in between lines. That's going to be the first one right here. Next, we're going to have kerning. That one is going to be the space between two specific characters in our text. In this case, characters refers to any letter, number, or symbol that appears in our text. Let's go ahead and add that onto here. Then we're going to have tracking. Tracking is going to be the amount of space between a range of characters. We'll drop that one in right there. And last, type style, a variation on a typeface such as bold, italics, or normal. Let's go ahead and check our response. And we are correct. Task 28, when preparing images to be used for different mediums, print, web, and video, in Photoshop, different file formats are required. Match each file format with its most appropriate use. We have SVG, EPS, JPG, and PNG. Lots of three-letter acronyms here. For definitions, we have vector graphics, photos with no transparency, photos with transparency, and commercial printing. We're going to start off with SVG. SVG is a vector graphic format. Vector graphics are special in that they are documents that are mathematically comprised of lots of different shapes. You can sort of think of this as like if you were creating a graph using a graphing calculator. It is given different coordinates for where it should put different lines, and then it's able to mathematically change the size of that without hurting our image. So while a JPEG or PNG file is going to be not easily scaled to a larger size, a SVG file or vector graphic is made up of shapes that can easily be made bigger or smaller. Next on to EPS. EPS is a format that is used for commercial printing. JPG is going to be a photo with no transparency, and that transparency part is very important because that separates JPG from PNG, our last one. In the PNG format, photos are able to have transparent backgrounds, and this is something that is unique to the PNG format. We're going to go ahead and select Next. And we are correct. Task 29. Which of the following is not a selection method in Photoshop? Is it the Quick Selection tool, the Select Subject command from the Select menu, the Hand tool, the Magic Wand tool, or the Lasso tool? Many of these have Select in the name, so that's a pretty good indicator that these are good options for making selections. A little less obvious for making selections is the Magic Wand tool, which is also used for selections, and the Lasso tool, which is in fact also used for selections. This leaves us just with the Hand tool. The Hand tool is used to allow you to click and drag to move your view of the document around. It's important to know that this doesn't actually move any items in your document, it just moves your view of the document around. Let's go ahead and select Next. And we are correct. Task 30. Which of the following demographics are most important when considering the target audience for a website that sells eyeglasses? And specifically, it tells us to choose two. This is something we definitely need to pay attention to both in GMetrix and on the real certification exam. Is it occupation, ethnicity, age, gender, or residence? In this case, I'm thinking it's going to be age and gender. These are going to be big in adjusting somebody's taste and preferences when it comes to marketing, and these are both considered to be demographic information. We'll go ahead and select Next. And that is correct. Now that we've reached the end of our 30 questions, we're going to go to our summary page, scroll all the way to the bottom, and we're going to need to take a couple screenshots showing that we have completed these questions. Scroll down to question 25, the one we started with today, and use Windows F10 to take your screenshot. Then scroll all the way down so we can see the rest of the questions and do Windows F10 again to create a second screenshot. In order to complete this assignment successfully, you'll need to load 2 of those screenshots onto Google Classroom so that I can see all 5 questions that we completed in this session. As always, if you need help, please feel free to ask in class. But otherwise, I will see you all back in class. Bye now.